Much of the conversation surrounding disability in the media ceases to necessitate the voice of the individual throughout such social discourse. We each and all know that those with disabilities exist, yet I question whether the majority of society actually acknowledge this as fact. Stuart Hall, a verse sociologist, asserts that representation is an intersectional process. It must necessitate facets of reflective, intentional, and constructionist views in order to form meaning and language. As spectators and inhabitants of a constantly evolving zeitgeist of this meaning, it is profound that the world's largest marginalized community, with over a quarter of the world's population identifying as disabled, are only represented by 3.1% of characters on our screens. The issue is prevalent globally, so it is important that we identify the international landscape and not just necessitate Hollywood in this debate. Entertainment contributes to our values and ideals, so with effective and authentic popular culture, exposure and understanding of the other can become raised and normalized. Everyone benefits from diversity in film, and I hope to explore why the current lack of authentic, genuine, encouraging, and valid portrayals are blatantly misinforming and deceiving the public. A term introduced by Stella Young, inspiration porn, refers to the invalidation of everyday activities performed by those viewed as the other, implemented to incite an emotional response from the viewer, be that pity for the other, or self-gratification of the soul because they themselves are so pure and good, having reacted so positively to this action. I'd like to introduce to you the 3 archetypes of misrepresented and impaired character tropes that are commonly perpetuated. Voldemort, Darth Vader, Scar, Captain Hook, Kevin from Split, and surprisingly, every depiction of the Joker. Although not necessarily marketed to possess these impairments, how is it that these medieval factors are too often synonymous that they become a lazy shortcut that roots their evilness and incites fear of difference? In this genre of film, we have characters on the lower end of the spectrum, such as Daredevil, whose blindness is an advantage over his enemies, as well as Oracle, who proves her usefulness by using her tech skills to solve crimes and help Batman. These are less incriminating incidents of the issue. It becomes far more pressing when the disabilities are framed as enemies that the hero must defeat in order to save themselves. Though these types of stereotypes are more positive due to their focus on inspiring, they highlight their heroic characteristics that are predominantly dependent on their disability. Nonetheless, a positive stereotype is still a stereotype. Then there is the victim, the disabled character who is framed to the viewer as a sullen object of pity or one who is in need of desperate help, whether it's John Merrick in The Elephant Man or Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. This stereotype alienates the marginalized and forces common folk that are less informed to view the impaired through such innocent lens. My Left Foot, which depicts the life of Christy Brown, an individual that much of the marketing would suggest is suffering from cerebral palsy, attempts to counter this perspective to a degree. The film attempts to focus on the emotional reactions of individuals within Christy's proximity, such as members of the family and the community. Christy is integrated with activities such as kickball with other children in the neighborhood. This reinforces participation, further explored when he becomes an adult. Here Christy creates his own opportunities through visual arts and literature, whilst also dealing with the consequences of his action, especially in relation to intimacy, just like any other human being would. As this issue of marginalization is present globally, let's have a look at how film, a cross-cultural and multifaceted tool, is able to challenge perceptions and how it compares to the Western method of doing such. The Untouchables, one of the most financially successful French films of all time, unfortunately sparked an insulting Hollywood remake, The Upside. Both films plot able-bodied characters, Cluzet and Cranston, as the quadriplegic and problem-bodied millionaire Philippe, or Philip, respectively. This already posits an issue for representation, perpetuating the lack of opportunities for real disabled actors through such an invalidating gaze. It is clear both films disperse their message and treat their seemingly varying audiences conversely. The Untouchables' Philippe is a subtle yet noble adaptation of impairment that doesn't caricaturize disability as a trap. Cranston, however, in the remake, attempts to dramatize the experience with pity and discomfort, presenting an incapability of appreciation for human interaction, a theme that is actively humanized in the original. Why is it that the narrative of the impaired is predominantly told through the lens of a remake, in this case The Upside, and the upcoming remake of The Elephant Man, rather than an authentic and original story relevant to the current landscape of representation? Whilst it does not seem an incredibly daunting task to get this right, it is bizarre that this minority group, the only one that anyone can unexpectedly join at any time by the way, is universally spat on and disrespected. It's time that we utilize the power of media and film as an influence to promote inclusion through hiring disabled creators and actors. Let them tell their stories through their perspective, prioritize accuracy and destigmatization, and accept that the world is full of diversity. So why is it that film, perhaps the largest media podium, refuses to acknowledge this?